Hello.
Hey, Mario.
What's the simcha?
Oh, it's Zisplat. It's making a vort. Uri Zisplat.
Oh, one word? Ein Wort?
Are we changing the Navi shirt to Sunday night? Starting this week?
I don't know.
Okay.
Ernie will decide.
Okay.
I think he should.
Yeah.
Where are we? In 19 or 20?
20.
You know, the one from yesterday, it didn't
Yeah.
record. Now I just checking it.
Oh.
It was 50 minutes of Alan Genauer looking. I don't know. So I have to erase it because I sent it as.
Oh, you can't put that on. Yeah.
Hi, Johnny.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Hi.
Hello.
Bobby, you saw the thing that your brother sent from Miley?
Which one?
The one in Spanish that is insulting everybody.
No, I didn't see that. One second.
Oh
When did he
my-
send it?
Yesterday, I think. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Insulting who?
A reporter was interviewing him, but using words that I haven't heard in 50 years, I mean. And I couldn't say them on radio.
Wow. Hey, the show is canceled tonight, it says? Or the Turba?
The Tsorba.
Yeah.
Okay. My son, maybe send it to me personally?
Huh? He sent it to me, so I assume he sent it to you.
Let me see. It's so much crap these days. Oh, the Tijuana Wood or something?
See.
Oh, I know what happened. I couldn't open it. It didn't open.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
It doesn't know.
But opening this with the picture is.
Obrador es verdaderamente patético, lamentable, repugnante. ¡Zurdos, hijos de puta, tiemblen! ¡La libertad avanza!
Yeah, now I got it.
Solamente estoy diciendo que sos una burra.
Unbelievable.
From when is this? From way back?
I don't know. At the
Yeah,
end,
I'll
he's
listen.
dancing in a stage. He's crazy.
He probably is. So of course he has to be a friend of Israel.
Okay, we're on Chaf 20. There's no Tzur Bashir. I sent him a thing because a lot of people are going to the Simcha tonight. So we'll just do it next week.
Yeah, Ernie, have we changed the Navi to Sunday night starting this weekend?
We did not.
We did not.
We did not, but we can discuss it Saturday night. If everybody wants to move it, we can move it. I mean, for now, it's at 7 p.m. Saturday night.
Yeah. Okay.
And then let's discuss it, and then we'll move it to Sunday.
Okay, very good.
What about tomorrow? Can we do it in the morning? I tell you what, I mean, I think most people are gonna go to dinner or whatever. So I don't know how long that'll go.
I know, but our dinners are early, like at 4 o'clock. No,
Well, I don't know. I'm invited out. I don't know what day. I don't remember the time, but it's not gonna be 4 o'clock for sure. More like 5:36 or 7 even.
really.
So I don't know. It's up to everybody else. But I'm game for the morning
Yeah,
tomorrow.
yeah. So mine is at like from 4 to 7:30.
Yeah, that's what ours is. I think that's what I think.
So you still want to have it at 8? You want to have it at 8
Let's do it
tomorrow
at
night?
8. Let's do it at 8 tomorrow night. And then Friday morning we can do it in the morning. I
Okay.
mean, we can do it at 8 o'clock. I don't know what time people are going to Minyan.
Well, I'm back from Indian at 8 o'clock before 8, right, Harold? We're back before 8.
Yeah, we'll be home by 8.
Maybe Friday we'll do it at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
And tomorrow at 8 p.m. And then
Yeah.
Okay.
let's say Shabbos 6:30. 6:30
6:30 and 7.
and 7. Yeah, that way we're done at 8 o'clock. And
Yeah.
people want to go out, they can go out. And we'll discuss
Shabbos, what's the Shabbos when?
Motzei Shabbos
6:30.
30.
And then 7 is Navi.
Mario, then 8 o'clock in the morning, Friday,
Yes.
and then 8 p.m. tomorrow night.
Mm-hmm.
Ahu Baruch the Chazal lift up. We're on Chaf, Amid Aleph, 20. Ahu Baruch the Chazal lift up Pumadadana. There was a goat that saw a turnip on top of a earthenware vessel. Sarich Solik, he jumped up on top. Achla lifta tarviladan. He ate the turnip and he broke the kli. Chayve Rava lifta va'adona nezek sholik. Rava adjudicated that the owner of the goat has to pay damages for the turnip and for the kli. My time. Even to urchala mecha lifta. It's normal for a goat to eat a turnip. So it's shame, which pays nezek sholim. Urchanami l'sruchala misik. It's not unusual for it to jump on the vessel as well and break it. It would not be considered karen. It's considered part of shame. Walter, we said tonight, there's no shiur tonight. Tomorrow, 8 p.m. Friday morning, 8 a.m. Saturday night, 6:30, followed by 6:30 p.m. followed by Navi Shiur.
8 a.m. 8 a.m. on Friday morning.
Yeah.
Middle of davening. Okay.
Omer Ilfa. Be'ema b'Rishus Harabi. An animal's walking in Rishus Harabi. Who pushed at Savora. It stuck its neck into a private store. No. Before it does that, there is another animal walking next to it, and on top of the animal, it had food. Chayeves. Now, my time, when it eats from the back of an animal in Rishus Harabim, it's as if the animal reached in to a private Rishus HaYochid. So it's like you did damage in Chotzra Nizik, and therefore you have to pay Nezek Sholem. Lema Messiah. Haisa Kuposum of Shelas La'achra. Person has a basket of food that's like in a backpack, and he's in Rishus Harabim. The animal reached in with its mouth and ate from the backpack. Chayeves. So the Gemara wants to say, maybe that's a raya, that's a siyua to what we just said about an animal eating food from the back of another animal. Or says no. It's two different cases. Because maybe Kedama Rava, but Kofetzes. In the case of eating from the backpack, the animal jumped. Hachanami, in the case of the eating the food off the back of the animal, it's also Kofetzes. And you pay Karen, it's unusual. It's an unusual act. And you pay. You don't pay for shame in Rosh Hashanah, but you do pay for Karen. Chatzinezek. Rava, where do you see that Rava made this distinction about koifetzes? Aha Sham Rav Yoshea. Behema b'shus rabim. An animal b'shus rabim. Im holcha v'achla. If it ate while it went walking, p'tura. That's regular shame b'shus rabim, which is potter. Amda v'achla. If it stood still and ate, you're chai. Now, maishna holcha. That's the normal way an animal eats. An animal eats standing. That should be normal. Why should it be a difference? It all should be ptura, like Shein B'Shus Harabim. You're treating it somehow as a shinui, and then it's Karen, and you're chayav for Karen B'Shus Harabim. Rava explains what oimedes means here. It means bekoifetzes, it jumped and ate, which is not the normal derech. So it's shinui, and that's why he established an obligation to pay. Barav Zera. Misgalgel Mahu. Food rolled. Now, Heichidami, what's it says? Kigon de Kaima Omi B'Shus HaYachid. There was a stalk of wheat in Rosh Hashanah. The Misgalgel V'Osin rolled, and it ended up in Rosh Hashanah near the animal. From Rosh Hashanah to Rosh Hashanah. And the animal ate it in Rosh Hashanah, even though it started in Rosh Hashanah. Mai. Is it like Shein B'Shus HaYachid, since it started there and you be chayiv? Or is it Shein B'Shus HaRabim because he ate it in Rosh Hashanah, you'd be potter? Toshma, the Tani Rav Chia, Mosush Mikzosu Bifnim, Umikzosu B'chutz. You have a burden that's halfway in the Rosh Hashanah and halfway sticking in the Rosh Hashanah. Ochla Bifnim. If the animal ate from the part that was inside, chayeves, because it fulfills Shein B'Shus HaNizik. Achla b'chutz. If the animal ate from the food that's sticking out in B'Shus HaRabim, p'tura, because it fulfills Shein B'Shus HaRabim. My lab, perhaps it's dealing as well in a case of Mizgalgel V'Osi. And we're going after where he ate it. Since he ate Rosh Hashanah, maybe that's why you're chayiv. Lo. Ema achla alma bifnim chayeves. If it started on the inside, even if it rolled to the outside, you'd be chayiv. Alma shebachutz, what was outside, is ptura no matter where you ate it. Iboy sema. He kamer Rav Chia. In the Bepsila da Aspasa, like a long piece of asparagus, part of it which is on the inside, part of which is on the outside, and it's not rolling. So it doesn't really answer the question about Mizgalgelis. Achla klus, achla ksus. If the animal ate a garment, that's not normally what it eats. So it's a shinui. And therefore you pay chatzinezek. Where, if he ate it in the private rishus hayachid of a person, but Rishus Harabim, we said potter. Aya, on what case? On Rav Akula. It means even if it ate the kalim or the garment in Rishus Harabim, in the Rishus Harabim, and even though Karen Rishus Harabim, something unusual is chayv Rishus Harabim, here it's still potter. My timer. Kol hamishane ubo acher v'shinabo potter. If there was a shinui, but somebody came and did damage to it, potter. But Shmuel Amar lo yishanu ala parents for Yerakos. That's only something that, for example, in the first case, Rav, if somebody put a pillow or kalim in Rishus Harabim, so that's a dover mishuna. And then the behemoth did something mishuna by eating it, so you're not chayiv. But Shmuel says, lo yishanu. When do we say it's potter b'Rishus Harabim? The peros for Yerakos, which fulfills shein b'Rishus Harabim. Aval ksus v'kelim, if the animal ate a pillow or kalim in Rishus Harabim, which is eating, that's not the normal thing that it eats. Chayaves, you have to pay chatzi nesek because it's mishuna. So it's like Karen. V'chein amar Reish Lakish, akulu. Reish Lakish said, like Rav, that it goes on both. V'az Reish Lakish tamei sham Reish Lakish shtei poros b'Rishus Harabim. Two cows Rishus Harabim. Achas revutza v'achas. One is lying down, the other is walking. Bo'ata malechus revutza. The one that was walking bucked the cow that was lying. Ptura. If the one that was lying revutza bucked, malechus chayeves. So it's normal for the animal to walk in Rishus Harabim and not to lie down. So the one that was lying, even though the other one did something unusual and bucked it, it's potter. But Rav Yochanan Omar, like the way Shmuel explained our Mishnah, lo yishanu, when do we say it's potter b'Rishus Harabim? Elo peros v'Yerakos. That's if it eats something that it normally eats. Aval ksusu kelim chayeves, you have to pay chatzi nezek because it's like carrot. It's unusual. Lamer of Yochanan Lesley to Reish Lakish afilu b'shtei poros. Does that mean Reish Lakish doesn't agree? Does that mean Rav Yochanan doesn't hold of Reish Lakish? Lo, la'olam islay. He holds of that, but he makes a distinction. Ksus avdi inshi the manchi glimim mitzpaschi. People will put down a garment in Rishus Harabim and rest. So it's not considered a shinu. But behema lav urche. It's not normal for an animal to lie down in Rishus Harabim. So the animal did a shinui. So there's no chiyuv on the other animal that bucked it, like we said in the din of Shmuel. Then we said, if the animal ate in Rishus Harabim, even though it's potter from damage payment, Mishalemes, you pay at least what it benefited by eating it. V'kama, how much is that? Rabba Omar, Demei Omar. Normally, an animal eats straw. So I would have felt, the owner could say, I would have fed my animal straw. That which it benefited by eating barley, I only have to value, if he ate 8 ounces, I only have to pay 8 ounces worth of straw. Rava Omar, no, Dmei So'irim. You pay, if he ate 8 ounces of barley, you pay him 8 ounces of barley. But Bizol, the cheapest price that you can get barley in the marketplace. Tanya Kavasa de Rava, the Rabbah, Tanya Kavasa de Rav. Tanya Kavasa de Rabbah, Oimer, Ein Mishamel said Dmei Ami Bilvad. That when an animal eats something, you pay its volume times the amount of straw, because that's what it normally is. Tani kavesa de Rava, im nenis, mishalemis masha nenis. You pay what it benefit. Ketzad, achla kav o kovayim, if it ate a bushel, in omrim tishalim demeyan. You don't just pay a bushel, ela oimdim kama. You would say, how much adam davar. How much would a person feed its animal, a normal thing that it eats? And even though it's not normally eat this thing, so if it ate barley, even though it's not the normal food that it eats, you pay the cheapest price for barley. If it ate wheat or something that's bad for it, where the owner wouldn't want to feed it at all, then you're patur lagamri. I was not with you at night when you learned an interesting sugya. Amar lo. So Rami Bar Chama said, "My mili ma'ayisa." What did we learn? Amar le. Hadar b'chatzor chaveiro shalom idaito. My neighbor has a courtyard, and I sleep in his courtyard. He doesn't know about it. So, do I have to pay my neighbor rent or not? If it's a chutzner that he normally doesn't rent out, and nobody lives there normally, the gavra deloy avid lemiger, and the guy who is squatting there that night is not somebody who normally pays to rent a chutzner. He has other places that he could sleep for free. Well, zeh loy nene, the zeh loy chutzner. The guy who slept there really didn't benefit because he could have slept in many other places. But also, the owner of the courtyard also didn't lose out. So according to everybody, he wouldn't have to pay anything. But let's say it was a courtyard that he normally rents out. The Governor David Lemeger. And he's somebody that doesn't have a free place to live. He normally would rent a place. So Zenene. So the guy who squatted there without permission benefited. The owner of the courtyard lost out. So there's no chiddush. Of course, he would have to pay. The chiddush is lo tzricha b'chatzor shaloi kaim la'agra. Normally, the owner of this chatzor does not rent it out, but the gavra to Ovid Lemeger. This guy doesn't have a regular place to sleep. He would have to pay somewhere else. My. Do we say motzi omer lei? The guy who squatted there could say to the owner of the courtyard, Machasar sicha, how did I make you lose out? What did you lose by me sleeping there? You normally don't rent it out. So I slept there. You didn't lose anything. It's a case of zenene, the zelo choser. One guy benefited, but the other guy didn't lose out. Oidilma, motzi omar, the owner of the courtyard could say to the guy who squatted, Ha'is Yanis. Well, you benefited, so you should pay for it. Because similar to the case of the animal that ate fruit in the Rishut Sarabim, we said, he has to pay at least what he benefited. So the Gemara sees a similarity here. That means he benefited, so he should pay for that. Amr lay. So Rabbi Bar Chama said, this is not a new question. It's Masnisani. It's our Mishnah. So the Rav Chizda wanted to say, hey, Masnisan. Amr lei l'chita shamishli. If you do something for me, I'll tell you. Shakal Sudra Karchle. So Rav Chisda took Rami Bar Chama's hat and he wrapped it around his head. It's some kind of service that he did for him. Amr lay. So Rami Bar Chama then told him, it's our Mishnah. The animal, normally an animal that eats in Rishus Rabim, it's potter. It's potter for damage payment. But whatever it ate, and it had a gnaw, like we said, either the cost of straw or the cost of barley at the cheapest price, he has to pay that. It says, Imnenis b'shalemes mashenenis. So Rami Bar Chama sees it to be analogous to the case of the guy who slept without permission in his neighbor's courtyard. So he benefited, he should pay. Amar Rava, Kama lo choyli v'lo margish gavra de morsia. Kodesh Baruch Hu sometimes helps a person that what he says in halacha will be accepted. The avagav de lodam lemasnisim kiblu minei. He said the shaila is really not comparable to our Mishnah, but Rav Chisda still accepted the answer from Rami Bar Chama. Now, why is it not different? Why is it different? Ki hai, in our Mishnah, where the animal eats fruit in Rishus Harabim, zeh neneh v'zeh choser. The animal benefited, and the person who owned the payros in Rishus Harabim lost out. Hi, but the guy who squatted in my neighbor's field or my neighbor's choser, zeh neneh v'zeh lo choser, is a case where one benefited and the other guy didn't lose out. So Rami Bar Chama, why did Rami Bar Chama see that it was comparable? Because he held if an animal ate fruit in Rishus Harabim, Stam Peiros, Rishus Harabim, Mafkori Mafkar didn't belong to anybody. If somebody dropped fruit in Rishus Harabim, he must have given up ownership in it and couldn't benefit from it anymore. So it's similar. It's Zenen of his Elochos, it doesn't really belong to anybody. So the Gemara tries to bring more proof. To not. Hamakif Chavero Misholosh Ruchoso. Person has a field, and a neighbor has fields on three sides of his field. And the guy who has the field surrounding three sides of one guy's field, builds a fence around the three of his fields. We don't obligate the owner of the fourth field to participate in the payment of that, even though it turns out that his field is also being sort of fenced in. However, he can say that he's not really fenced in because one side of his field is completely not fenced in. So he can say he really doesn't benefit. So, but if a fourth fence would have been built by the neighbor, the one who owned the three fields, and he fenced in three of his fields, and he happened to build the fourth fence as well, now the owner of that one field is obligated to participate because now the owner of that field is completely fenced in. And what do we learn from here? Shma mino zenene v'zelachosr chay. The guy who lived in that fourth field benefited, And the Makif didn't lose out because he ended up fencing in all of his fields. And yet we say, Zenene, the one guy benefited and the other guy didn't lose out, yet he's Chayiv. So the more it's a shiny awesome, that's unusual. That's a different case. The Amar Le, excuse me, the Amar Le, the one who did the fencing can say to the one who was fenced in, At Garamtali Hekefa Yasera. You made me, the presence of your fourth field was an opening for me. So you required me to build this fourth fence. So you ended up being the source of why I had to pay an extra expense. So that's similar to Zen Nenev as a Chosser, because you can make that claim that otherwise I wouldn't have had to pay for it. Toshma. On Rav Yossi. Im Omad Nikiv. If the owner of that fourth field himself went at the Godar Saravis and he built the fourth fence, Melgalgan Alavas Akol. So he has to share in the expenses of the first three as well. He shows clearly by his actions that he was happy that the other three fences were built. Oh, Taima Shagadar Nikif. That's because he showed and built the other fence. Ha Makiv, if the one who had built the first three fences had done it, Potter. So Shmamino Zen Nenev Ezelo Chosser Potter. That seems to be a raya that when one benefited and the other didn't lose out because we're going to do it anyways, it's not Chayiv, it's Potter. Shiny awesome, again, that case is different. The Amr Lay, the one who owned the fourth fence, who can turn to the guy who built all the fences, Lididi Sagile Benetir Barzuza. You built this really strong fencing. I would have been happy with something very minimal. So therefore, I don't want to participate and share in this expense. Toshma. We'll bring you a source proof from another mission. Abayis Valiyah. You have somebody who owns the first floor, and you have a different owner of the second floor. Abayis Valiyah Shoshnayim. Shenaflu. The building collapsed, and now they have to rebuild it. Amr Balaliyah Balabayis Livnos. So the one who lived on the second story says to the owner of the first story, let's build, because you build your first floor and I'll build my second story on top of your first floor. And the owner of the first floor says, and he doesn't want to do it. So on that property, the owner of the guy who lived on the second floor can build a first floor and he can dwell there. Until the guy who had lived on the first floor gives him his expenses for building that house. Then once he does that, he can go and build a second story. So So his expenses, he can force the balabais to pay him. But hascharo, but now that the rent that he's been living in that first floor house, low. He can't make the guy pay him that. Shmamina, zenene, the zelo choser potter. He's benefiting. The other guy's not losing. He doesn't have to pay. Why? The one who lived on the second story is benefiting because he's benefiting from the house that he built. The owner of the house is not losing out because he said, I never wanted the house in the first place. So is that a raya that Zen Nenev is Elochosser is potter? Of course, no. It's a different case. Shani awesome. The base of la aliyah mishtabe. The first floor is meshubah to the second floor. The first floor was like the foundation for the second story. So the owner of the first floor is chayiv to give the guy who lived on the second story a makam dira.
Hey, didn't we learn this before, Ernie? We learned this somewhere in the Gemara before, no?
I think we learned inside, like an inner dwelling and an outer dwelling. I don't know about
No, an upstairs and a downstairs. I somehow remember. Maybe I learned this.
maybe.
Last time you
Yeah.
learned Bava Kama water.
That
Well,
could be.
It may have been quoted by another Gemara that we learned.
Yeah, we learned another Gemara. I'm telling you, we learned another Gemara. Okay, so I just remember that we learned the same shot.
Let me see. Gimel. Let me tell you where it is. No, it's in Bava Metzia. So we learned it once, but 7 years ago.
Okay, so obviously I remember that.
It's going to appear again.
The
in Bava Metzia.
Aliyah and the what you call him. Okay, I just remember this whole thing.
Toshma. Rabbi Yehuda Omer. Avzeh adar b'chotzer chavero shalom idaito. A guy who sleeps in his neighbor's courtyard without the neighbor giving him permission, sarich la'alo yischar. He says he has to pay rent. Shma mina, zen nene, the guy who slept there who benefited, and the neighbor who didn't lose out, is elochaser, you're still chayiv. So the Gemara says, from Rav Yehuda's is no raya. Shiny hasam, because you could see that the Bala Chotzer is not a loy chaser. In some way, he's losing out. Mishum shachrusa dashiosa. When a person lives in somebody's house, he causes the walls to become black. So when the guy lives in the guy's courtyard, and let's say it's fenced in by walls, becomes black. So in a sense, it's not a pure case of lo chaser. There's some chaser. Okay. So this shaila, shalchu be Ravami, they wanted to ask Ravami his opinion about somebody who dwells in the chutz of a friend. Does he have to pay rent or not? So Omar Ravami said, "V'chimo asali." The guy who dwelled there, how did he make me lose? Or how did he damage me? So according to his opinion, if somebody benefited and the other guy didn't lose anything, he doesn't have to pay. Rav Chia Ba'avar Omar, when he was asked this, he said, I want to think about it. They sent it to Rav Chia Barava again. Omer kulai shalchli vazli. You sending me again? Ilu ashke b'tayim lo shalchanaluhu. If I would have come up with a good svar and a good answer, I would have sent it to you. Wouldn't I? Don't you think I would have sent you an answer? What are you chepping me by asking me again? Must be that since I didn't send you an answer, I don't have an answer yet. Itmar. We have statement of Amoraim, where the Amoraim argued about this. Rav Kana Amar Rav Yochanan Eino tzarich la'alo yischar, that a person who dwelled overnight in a courtyard of his neighbor without asking permission doesn't have to pay rent. Rav Amar Rav Yochanan tzarich la'alo yischar, and a different Amoy Rav Avo in the name of Rav Yochanan said the opposite. Amar of Papa. This tradition of Rav Avo is lav beferish itmar elam echlala itmar. He didn't hear it clearly. He derived it. How so? This not. You have the treasurer of Hegdish. Shanatal Evanoi Koresh Hegdish. He took a beam or a stone building material that belonged to Hegdish. So the fact that he took it and removed it, let's say, from the location of the Beis HaMikdash, Harei Lamol, just by taking it, he's not Chayv Me'ila yet. But Nasl Chavero, this treasurer gave a beam to his friend as a gift, humal. So now he removed it from the Rishus of Hekdesh, and he's chayv me'ilah. Now this friend who now has this beam, chaver lo mo'al, still has not chayv me'ilah. Now, bana l'soch beiso. If the treasurer, rather than giving it to his friend, used it to build his house, hareza lo mo'al, he's still not chayv me'ilah yet. Ad sheyidor tachtei hashavar pruta. Once he moves into the house and benefits from the house, at least a shavar pruta, so then it triggers the chiyuv me'ilah. V'amar Shmuel, v'hu shehinicha al pi aruba. He had to put it like over a window. So for example, if he had put it in the row of stones to build the walls, so there'd already been me'ilah, because he made a shinu in that stone.
He talks about a skylight, by the way.
Like I said, like a window or a skylight. An aruba, let's say a skylight.
Aruba is a
So there, because he can remove the stone from the skylight, and as long as he hasn't dwelled underneath it for at least a minute, it's not chayv me'ilah. The Yosef Ravo Kamed Rav Yochanan, the common Mishra Shmuel. This halacha Rav Ravo taught in front of Rav Yochanan and said, Zoysoy Meres. From here we see Hadar b'chatzer chaveru shalom idaito. A person who dwells in your friend's courtyard without his permission, tzarich la lischar. You have to pay him. Because look, the treasurer, once he dwells under that beam, he doesn't make the beam any deficit at all, but he benefited from it, so he's chayiv milah. So the guy sleeping in the courtyard, even though he didn't deficit the courtyard at all, he has to pay, he benefited from it. The shosakle, Rav Yochanan was quiet. So that's what we mean by he didn't hear it befeirush, but we heard it mechlala. Iyu Rav Ravo savar the midishosik. The fact that Rav Yochanan was quiet, shemoidele, that he accepted that maskana, and that Rav Yochanan would hold that just like the gizbar who dwelled under it with his chayv me'ilah, the guy who slept in the courtyard without permission has to pay as well. However, velohi, the reason why Rav Yochanan was quiet, shashguchi lo ashkach pei, he didn't really find anything to be soiser Rav Avo, but really Rav Yochanan had, like Rav Kahana, that a guy who sleeps in the courtyard overnight doesn't cause the baitim to lose anything and doesn't have to pay rent. So why does the gizbar has to pay rent? It owes me'ilah once he sleeps, even though it doesn't cause any deficit to the beam. Kiderova, the Omer Reva Hegdish Shalom Midas Kediut Midas Dami. Special din by Hegdish. What's the halacha in the Rambam and the Shulchan Aruch regarding this famous sugya of Hadar b'chatzer chaver shalom idaito? Hadar b'chatzer chaver shalom idaito. If a person sleeps in his neighbor's courtyard without permission of the neighbor, and the guy didn't chase him out, but he wasn't maskim from the get-go that he should sleep there. Im chatzer zu eino asur lahaskir. If this courtyard normally is not rented out, the guy who slept there doesn't have to pay. We paskin like Rav Kahana b'shem Rav Yochanan. Okay, very, very important classic sugya here that we learned tonight.
big sugya tonight.
Very good.